If you're an entrepreneur and you want to get shredded in 2025, you have to focus on your diet, because that's where all the results are going to come from. Not exercise, it's dieting alone. It's the biggest part of this game. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to eat in order to lose 20 to 50 pounds of body fat and get completely shredded. I've been a professional fitness coach for the last 17 years and I've helped transform over 1,200 clients so far. And I'm 41. I've been a professional triathlete, 3-time national champion, Olympic Games candidate, and I've been shredded for the last 25 years. So I got a really good idea of what you need to do in order to lose fat, build muscle, and get completely ripped. So when it comes to your diet, I'm not going to tell you what you've heard all the time, which is carbs are really bad, they make you fat. So you just need to cut out carbs. You need to be carnivore diet. Or eating animal products is really bad, so you need to be a vegan. Or eating breakfast is really bad, you need to fast and starve yourself all day. This is all nonsense. You don't need any of that. In order to lose weight and get really shredded, you need only two things when it comes to your diet. Number one, controlling your calories. You've heard calories in, calories out is king. You may heard some clueless, idiots or some zealots that have supplement or some bullshit diet to sell you say the calories don't matter. They always matter. Every single fad diet, and there have been hundreds of them in the last 50 whatever years, all of these fad diets tell you that calories don't matter if you just cut your carbs, if you just cut your fats, if you just starve yourself, or if you just skip breakfast, if you just don't eat this food, or if you just do eat this food. In reality, the only thing you need is to control your calories. Now, in being a calorie deficit. Now, how many calories should you be eating? Here's a very simple way. 10 times your body weight in pounds if you're a man. That's how many calories you should be eating. Now, of course, when I customize this for my clients, I always go way more in depth. I would determine their maintenance calories, what's the appropriate deficit, then we do the deficit off of that maintenance, and then we get the weight loss calories for the week, then we distribute that for training days and off days in different ways. We get a bit more calories on training days, a bit less on off days, yada yada. We can build muscle while burning body fat at the same time, etc., etc. But that would take us an hour or two video that nobody would watch. So here, let's make it really simple. 10 times your weight in pounds if you're a man. If you're a woman, I'm sorry, but it's going to have to be less than that. It's going to be 8 times your weight in pounds or 9 times your weight in pounds if you're a more active woman, okay? So let's say you weigh 200 pounds as a man, 10 times your weight, 2,000 calories. That's how many you should be eating. If you are a 180-pound guy, times 10, you should eat 1,800 calories a day. If you are a 250-pound guy, you should have 2,500 calories a day at 7, okay? So that's how many calories you should be eating. That's the biggest thing. How do you know how many calories? You have to track your food. You have to track it. At least for 1 week, it's going to change everything for you. You're going to conclude two things. One, you're eating way more calories than you think you are. Number two, the food that you thought was really healthy, a meal, a snack, whatever, has way more calories than you thought it did. Both leading to the same exact conclusion that people always say, I can't lose weight. It's because you eat more than you think you do. We all do. We don't come with the skill knowing of how many calories certain food has. We all overeat calories. We eat more when we do than we think we do, especially when it comes to processed foods. The more processed the food is, the more overeating of that food we will do, and the more calories we will consume without being actually aware of that. So that's number one. Control your calories. Eat that many calories. Step number two, eat enough protein. How much protein should you eat? Again, I would go way in depth when I work with my clients. By the way, if you want to figure out this whole in-depth process, go check out rippedceo.com. This is everything I know put into one simple program, A to Z. You can go through the whole thing in under 90 minutes, hour and a half. It's going to change your life. Absolutely the lowest price of anything I've ever offered, while being the best program you'll ever find. I guarantee it. Go check out rippedceo.com. However, what you want to do here is 0.8 grams of protein times your body weight in pounds. That's how many grams of protein you should have. So if you're a 200-pound guy, go 0.8 times 200, that's 160 grams of protein. That's how many grams of protein you should have. If you're a man or woman, it doesn't change, it's the same. So let's say you're a 130-pound woman, go 0.8 times 130, that's how many grams of protein you should have per day. These are the only two things that matter. Why? Because the greatest discovery in the history of scientific research on weight loss is that if you have two diets with the same amount of calories and same amount of protein, the ratio of your fats and carbs does not matter at all for a weight loss. You can have a lot of carbs, no fat, or, very, very low carb, high fat, it doesn't matter. As long as total calories and protein are the same, your weight loss results are going to be identical. Here are a couple of studies showing that. The initial study that showed that the ratio of fats and carbs doesn't matter, it showed the exact same thing for maintenance of calories. It still doesn't matter. Another one that showed for obese individuals on ketogenic diet versus the same calories but high carb diet, exact same weight loss. Another study that basically showed for insulin resistant people, which are really overweight, and it would basically make sense physiologically that insulin resistant people would do really, really well on lower carb diet. No, science has not been kind to that idea at all, and showed that again, if total calories and protein are the same, insulin resistant versus the other group that isn't insulin resistant is going to lose the exact same amount of fat and weight on low carb or high carb. It doesn't matter. So please remember, the ratio of fats and carbs is literally up to your preference. If you really like carbs, lower your fats a little. If you really like fatty foods, then lower your carbs a little. Or you can just have half-half. Leading us to, of course, the question that you're going to have, okay, so let's say we now figured out you need to have 10 times your weight. So let's say we have our 200-pound guy, and he wants to lose 20 pounds or 30 or whatever. Now he's going to eat 2,000 calories, and let's say he's going to have 160 grams of protein, which is, let's say it's 600 calories, whatever, it doesn't matter. So let's say out of 2,000, 600 calories are protein. The rest of the 1,400 calories, now we need to distribute fats and carbs over these 1,400 calories, okay? So now, carbs have 4 calories, just like protein. Fats have 9 calories per gram. Now, you can take these 1,400 calories and literally say half-half. I'm going to take 700 calories, divide that by 4. That's how many grams of carbs I should have. And the other 700 calories I'm going to divide by 9, and then I'm going to have that many grams of fats. This would be your diet if you're a 200-pound guy trying to lose weight and wanting to lose weight. This is exactly how many calories you should have. Within that, how many protein, fats, and carbs grams you should have. You can just do the math based on your own numbers, okay? Now, when I do this for clients, I would look at what your fat percentage is based on that. The more overweight you are, the less protein you need. The leaner you get, the more protein you need, etc., etc. This would also assume 2 things. You're doing 2 to 3 workouts per week of any type, ideally lifting and cardio, maybe 2 lifting, 1 cardio, whatever. But let's say 2 to 3 workouts of any type, and you would do 5 to 10,000 steps every single day, because we want you to be active and live long and be healthy, not because a few calories that's going to burn, okay? Even though if you do 10,000 steps every day, that's going to burn 400 to 500 calories. That is not insignificant. That adds up. So this is how you would figure out your exact numbers. Now you need to track your food in order to figure out exactly how many grams of protein, fats, and carbs you're eating, okay? Now, once you have these numbers, that's step 1. Step 2 is, how do we actually translate these numbers into foods? What do you actually eat? Here's an example of a meal plan that would fit these numbers. So let's say for breakfast you can have 2 options. One, let's say you said you're really busy, I don't have time to cook or prepare anything. You can just have coffee and a protein shake. What we want to have is really high protein in the morning. We now have studies that have shown that front-loading calories, so having hot, let's say really caloric, high-calorie breakfast, and then less calories for lunch and least calories for dinner, actually people do better on that plan compared to the opposite. They have very small breakfast, bigger lunch, and biggest dinner. The first option, where people are front-loading the calories and having large meals or larger meals for breakfast, actually they do better, they lose more weight, feel better, have more energy, etc. However, I have something to add to that, which is it's actually because they have a larger meal in the morning, they actually have more protein in the morning. Protein is key, because protein, having a high protein breakfast makes you less hungry later in the day, therefore, especially at night, therefore makes it infinitely easier to actually stick to that, because you're not hungry and you're not craving sugar and all the sweets and everything else. And that's why actually fasting can be very detrimental, because when you're not eating in the morning, you tend to be ravenous at night and then really, really hungry and want all the carbs and ice cream and everything at night, and you blow up, and basically blow your calorie number, and you eat over what you're supposed to and don't lose any weight. A lot of times, fasting certainly can work for some people. If you don't have anything in the morning and it doesn't make you hungry at night, fasting is a totally viable option. It's totally okay. However, please remember, timing of your meals and when you have the meal. So at what time of the day you have them and how many of them you have throughout the day is completely irrelevant for your fat loss. The only thing that matters is how many calories you eat in the total day and how many grams of protein you've had. So if you had let's say these 2,000 calories are imaginary 200-pound guys going to eat. If he breaks that down into 6 meals or 3 meals, or has one 2,000 calorie meal per day, it doesn't matter, he's gonna lose the exact same amount of weight. So frequency of meals, distribution of these meals, when you have the meals, let's say you have breakfast and nothing else, or you have nothing and then just dinner, or you have 2 meals, 3, 7, doesn't matter at all for your fat loss. The only thing that matters is calories are king, okay? So let's say your breakfast is either shake, or you said, hey, I wanna have some eggs. But so what we're trying to do is have 30 to 40 grams of protein in each meal. So now you said, okay, I want to have 30 grams of protein with eggs, but one egg is 6 grams, so I need to have 5 eggs. That's kind of a lot of calories because, an egg is like 70 calories, so 350 calories, still not too much, but maybe too much for, let's say, a smaller woman. Have 2 whole eggs and add egg whites so that it ends up being 30 grams of protein for that first meal for breakfast. Great. You can have some low-fat cheese with that. You can have some spinach, cucumber, even some berries if you want. Totally fine. Let's say that was your breakfast. Now you put that into MyFitnessPal or any other tracking app. You can just use the food-free versions. As long as you track food so you know what you're eating, okay? And you don't need to track for the rest of your life. You just need to track for a couple of weeks, maybe 2 to 3 months. After a while, you're going to get a great idea of guesstimating. You're going to have an ability, a skill to guesstimate the amount of calories you eat, and then you don't need to track anymore. The last time I tracked my food was in 2007. I had a physique show and I was getting shredded, so that was the last time. That was 17 years ago, okay? or 18 years ago. I didn't need to track food since then because I have the skill of guesstimating the calories. This is what I actually teach my clients. Once you have this skill, you're going to be set for life. You're never going to regain the weight again, ever. By the way, if you want to be coached one-on-one by me, click the link below this video, apply, and you can book a call to speak with me or my team, and we can see if my program fits what you want and need. We can actually get you in the best shape of your life ever, guaranteed, in the next 90 days. So click that link and book that call. Now, let's say that was your breakfast. Now we have lunch. What do you have for lunch? You can have a leaner protein source, such as chicken, turkey, any kind of leaner red meat or beef or leaner, chunks of any kind of red meat. You can have tilapia, cod, any kind of white fish that tend to be very, very lean. Now, another rule that I really like to use with my clients, and I suggest to you, 2 out of your 3 meals a day should be leaner protein. 1 out of 3 should be fattier protein. I like to have that fattier protein source and bigger meal at night, simply because your testosterone is produced between midnight and 6 a.m. So when you eat, that final meal is higher in protein. Cholesterol from these fattier meals are literally what produces your testosterone and other sex hormones. So what you want to do is eat some beef or steak or sardines, salmon, eggs at night. Then you give your body incentive to produce testosterone when you go to bed. Testosterone is produced between midnight and 6 a.m. Ideally, you should be sleeping at that time, so it's really good to go to bed and be asleep before midnight. So let's say at 11 p.m., 10 p.m. is even better, etc. But make sure to have a fattier meal later at night. You're going to produce more testosterone, which is going to make losing body fat and building muscle a lot easier. So let's say that was your lunch. You track that as well, and then you see how many of these macros, meaning grams of protein, fats, and carbs, you have left for your dinner. And you'll see, okay, I got 100 grams of carbs, and I can have some 40 grams of fat, and I need 40 grams of protein. Okay, now we can have 6 to 8 or more ounces of some kind of beef or pork or salmon or maybe some eggs. That's fine too. Steak, whatever you want. You can have some rice with that. You can have a lot of vegetables, you can have some potato. All of these are fine options. It doesn't really matter. Carb is a carb is a carb. It doesn't matter what you eat as long as you fit the numbers of grams of protein, fats, and carbs. So if all of your carbs came from white sugar, you have a little pile of sugar and you're eating with a spoon and you hit the same number of grams as prescribed, you will lose the exact same amount of weight. Now, I'm not suggesting you do that. That's not healthy, of course. But for weight loss, it would work. For health, it wouldn't. But what this means is, especially after your workouts, if you want to have, a slice of pizza, if you want to have a Chipotle burrito, if you want to have some rice, if you want to have some bread, by all means, as long as it fits your macros, please do that. Because if you cut all those foods, you're going to be mentally starved and mentally craving that all the time. And then it's just a matter of time when you're going to give in give up the diet and binge eat your way to yo-yo diet, to whatever you were before. So this is how you build ideal perfect diet for you. You can practice knowing that ratio of your fats and carbs doesn't matter. You can try a little bit higher carb, lower fat diet. See how that works for your preferences, your lifestyle, what makes you happy. And then you can switch that around, have less carbs and more fat if you prefer fattier food. You could just have to lower your carbs a little, have more fats. It doesn't matter as long as total calories and protein stay the same. Your results are going to be the same when it comes to losing fat. But the satisfaction of your diet, what makes it sustainable and allows you to never regain the weight again, is by finding the diet that actually makes you happy, that allows you to eat all the foods you want frequently enough so that you don't feel restricted, don't feel miserable, don't feel hungry, and don't feel like I really want to have this food, but I can't have it. That's not sustainable. You're never going to stick to that, okay? And by the way, this is exactly what I do with my clients. We test higher carb, lower fat. We do all the numbers. I keep them accountable. And this is how I get 100% client success rate in the industry where basically nobody loses any weight. And if you'd like to be coached one-on-one, check out that link below. I show you exactly what the process is, how it works. Book a call. You can talk to me or somebody on my team and we can see if it's time to actually get you shredded in 2025. I would love to do that with you if you are a successful entrepreneur or a business professional who really is focused and committed and is going to do this. Then let's talk. We can get you in the best shape ever. Thank you guys for watching this video and Happy New Year. I'll see you next time.